Welcome to the Riches Era. In 1989, I had a comical however revealing collection of encounters with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, his palatial mansion in Palm Beach, Florida. Before we continue, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more updates. He had offered the massive residence, with 58 bedrooms and 33 bathrooms, 4 years in advance, without realizing that it become without delay below the flight route from Palm Beach International Airport. This become present process fast growth, and by the point I met him, there have been 200 flights an afternoon roaring overhead. Trump had answered to the devastating noise pollutants via way of means of looking to make not unusual place reason with the less well-off citizens of West Palm Beach who lived on the give-up of the runway. As with the plutocrats, they have been affected by the identical continual noise pollutants that rob them of sleep. I discovered approximately this livid row due to the fact I knew a Canadian paper mogul who had offered a residence near Mar-a-Lago at approximately the identical time as Trump. My pal became sour that the organization that offered him the assets had cautiously timed his go-to for a second with inside the afternoon, whilst there have been no planes flying without delay overhead. I did now no longer realize that I become looking Trump's first populist marketing campaign, which sought a curfew on nighttime flying, a ban on noisy airplane, and the enforcement of present noise regulations. To me those needs appeared to be reasonable, however Trump's try to create a famous front, combining billionaires and blue-collar employees, by no means in reality were given off the ground. The organizations by no means bonded the employees, pronouncing they may not just like the noise however being keen for the more jobs supplied via way of means of an improved airport. I must have taken Trump's abortive marketing campaign greater seriously. When I become in Palm Beach, the business enterprise he had installation to unite the various sufferers of plane noise appeared to be going nowhere fast. But a year later, I observed that the agitation, alongside the hazard of felony action, had pressured the airport to scale back at the noisiest plane. The lesson I took from the episode became that human beings underestimated Trump due to his widespread weirdness. Strange he can also additionally were, however, as one in every of his former advisors positioned it, he is a foxy nutter. He were very good, in 1989, at constructing what got here to be known as a Pluto populist coalition, however he become learning. When he made a grand front to the Republican conference in 2016 as their presidential candidate, he become hailed as the blue-collar billionaire. Can he pull off any other electoral triumph in 2024? He is now returned on the center of the political degree way to the hunt via way of means of the FBI of Mar-a-Lago on 8 August, searching out categorized files the previous president is claimed to have taken from the White House. This has brought about an extended and eye-catching felony wrangle, approximately the disclosure of what exactly the FBI become searching out. The furor over the Mar-a-Lago seek will each damage and gain Trump, strengthening him amongst his center supporters, which nowadays embody maximum of the Republican Party, even as hurting him most of the half of the American populace who loathe him. Democrats would really like Trump to run once more at the grounds that he's tainted via way of means of his report and workplace and his encouragement of folks that stormed Congress on 6 January. They calculate that this will make him the perfect candidate to overcome in a rerun of Biden's slender victory in 2020. But that is a risky recreation to play due to the fact they could get a rerun of the 2016 presidential election instead, whilst Hillary Clinton underestimated Trump's weird however powerful political abilities. As for the Republican leadership, they might privately decide upon a greater controllable candidate, like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. All that is particularly unpredictable due to the fact each events realize that the Supreme Court's selection overturning Roe v. Wade months in the past made abortion rights an imperative political trouble. But no one is aware of if it'll be a decisive trouble, making all political calculations made in advance with inside the years out of date. Democrats, who had predicted a rout with inside the midterm elections in November, are unexpectedly complete of optimism. A scattering of election outcomes this week display that the Democrats have a few purpose for hope. A hotly contested unique House election in New York's Hudson Valley noticed the Democrat, Pat Ryan, narrowly win after making abortion rights the imperative trouble of his marketing. Even President Biden, who has a tendency to appear amazed via way of means of occasions and lowly roll with inside the polls, is sounding assured and aggressive. Buoyed up via way of means of a string of legislative successes, He advised an assembly of Democratic donors that what we're seeing now could be both the start or the loss of life knell of intense MAGA Make America Great Again philosophy. It's now no longer simply Trump, it's the complete philosophy. It's like semi-fascism. It can be that the Democratic temper swing is simply too intense due to the fact their hatred of Trump and the Trumpian Republican Party warps their judgment. Jubilant Senate Democrats head home with momentum, reads a headline with inside the Washington Post, even as Vanity Fair says that Democrats are beginning to see a route to victory in November, but Democratic hopes stemming from abortion rights can be premature, washed away via way of means of the growing value of living, with the common American paying a ways greater for food, gas and clothing. According to a U.S. Census Bureau survey, greater than 25 million American adults stated they did now no longer get sufficient to devour with inside the preceding week. As for the midterm elections, an NBC ballot indicates that 47 in keeping with % of registered electorate need Republicans to govern Congress and 45 in keeping with % need the Democrats. Although Biden has had an excellent summer, he nevertheless has a 42 in keeping with % approval rating, with disapproval at 57 in keeping with %. These are grim figures displaying that the MAGA Republicans are heading for a victory with inside the midterms and with inside the presidential election in 2024. America can also additionally take a decisive step in the direction of autocracy with an intense right-wing Supreme Court and a gerrymandered balloting gadget that ends majority rule. Trump's one-guy rule become undermined via way of means of his chaotic approach. However, any other MAGA Republican president is probably greater systematic in making sure that key establishments of state together with the armed forces, judiciary, electoral authorities, FBI, Federal Reserve, IRS and intelligence offerings have leaders dependable to the president and to the MAGA creed. Trump and his kind of flesh presser have discovered plenty considering the fact that I first noticed them at paintings in Palm Beach 33 years in the past. They may be hard to stop.